3, 2, 1, and we're live. Hey, Sophie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Really, really good. I'm just doing my normal waiting till 9:01, the famous magic number 9:01. But it's really great to have you here, and we should know
It's great
who.
to be here.
Thank you, and we will know who's joining us soon. I've just checked; we are online, so that's great. So whoever join us, our normal people, our normal audience, will join us this morning.
Cool. Flashing live. I can see it in the corner.
I love all your bookcase. It's so neat and well organized. It's fantastic.
It's getting there. Yeah.
It looks amazing. I love it.
It's we've got quite a lot of time to be doing that right now. So.
I know. I'm in the middle of decluttering, and you don't realize how much stuff you've got until you start unpacking the boxes and unpacking, because I've just moved back to my home, so and I don't really want to unpack everything and put things away that I don't really want. I want to get rid of them.
I know it's overwhelming. And then there's all this talk of maybe the refuse collectors aren't able to work as much as usual, so you're like, should I be throwing stuff out right now if no one can collect it? So,
well, I won't. Well, if I know that, I won't do that. I will definitely just leave them to a side. They're not things that are going to compost, so that's fine.
No, exactly.
So that's okay. I can just leave them in a corner. But I think it's great to know what I want to psychologically leave. And what I don't want to re-put into my house, which is great.
I know.
So
I will do.
We're at 9:01. Here we go.
Oh.
So hi Sophie. Hi everybody. I'm Nadine, the intuitive Verdi soprano. I am a certified high performance coach. Not only am I a certified high performance coach, I'm a certified mind coach. I'm also a theta healer, and yes, I'm a professional opera singer who sings all over the world. And I'm on 12-week housebound. So, and I don't see it as a lockdown, I see it as safe at home. So I'm being here safe at home, and I was thinking to myself, there are lots of things that I could be sharing with people, and I know lots of wonderful people, and I'd love to share them with you too. So I've been talking about scheduling and making timetables and planning the last couple of weeks. And lo and behold, I come across a blog called 10 Reasons Why I've Made a School Timetable as a 32-year-old freelance musician on lockdown. And so let me introduce to you Sophie Gledhill, freelance musician, cellist. Sophie, that is just an amazing title, and I'm so happy that you've come to join us. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So tell us why tell us about yourself. Tell us what's been happening with you, how long you've been playing.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm a freelance cellist. I've been playing the cello since I was 6, but I guess I've been in the freelance world since I finished studying. So about 7 years, 7 or 8 years. But like all other musicians, as soon as this lockdown started, my whole work diary was cleared. There's not a lot of work we can do from home. Actually, I have done one online concert so far, but that doesn't really pay the bills. So anyway, I've been at home for, is it coming up to 3 weeks now? I think it is.
It is.
And the first couple of weeks, I just I think I needed time to process what was going on. It was all quite overwhelming. Obviously, a completely new situation for all of us. I didn't get a lot done. I woke up very late every day, which is sort of my natural rhythm. But it doesn't make you feel very good. I kind of always noticed that every time I looked at the time, it was 3 p.m. And I was like, how have I still not done anything? It's 3 p.m. So I got to the point where I thought, right, I need a plan. I need some kind of plan. And I thought about all the opportunities that we're presented with all this time, because it's an amazing opportunity for those of us who are able to use it. I'm not a key worker. I don't have young kids. I don't have old kids. I don't have any kids. I'm fortunate. I don't have anyone vulnerable that I need to be looking after. So I thought, well, okay, what can I do? And the idea came to me in the week when schools closed, because I saw this wave of homeschooling across the country and people doing really interesting, creative things. And I thought, hang on, I'm slightly jealous of that. That looks really amazing. All these people doing these sort of fun online classes and getting crafty and I don't know, going outside and in their gardens. I don't have a garden, I have a balcony, but you know, I'm doing some gardening there. So I thought, what if I make my own school timetable? Just a bit of fun really at first, but then I got a bit carried away with it. It took me about 3 days to put it together. And I've been living by it for, well, it's week 2 now. And it's been great. I mean, I think we all know about the benefits of creating a schedule, but I sort of thought it was a little bit more fun to kind of make it a school timetable, to make it a little bit less serious, and also to sort of regress back to that childlike state. It's quite important at this time.
It's funny because not everybody would see school timetable as something that was fun. So it's quite interesting that you find it fun, which I love. I totally love.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fun aspect is that I can sort of curate it myself, so I can leave out the bits that I always hated.
And I think that's what's really important, and it's what I've been sharing these last couple of weeks, is that when we make a schedule, even if we decide that we're going to sleep all day, make sure you put that in your schedule, because what you're doing then is empowering yourself. You're making that your choice and not kind of a haphazard thing, which actually does amazing things for the self-esteem, calms the nervous system because the body, the mind knows that you chose it, and it keeps you in control or in empowerment, which is really what we need, especially when we're at home a lot at the moment. And normally we'd be able to be transitioning or walking around, and we don't have that option right now. So holding on to our empowerment as much as possible is really, really, really important.
Exactly. And actually on day 2 of my first week in the school timetable, I actually took a sick day, which might...
I love it.
It might look like giving in, but actually I woke up with the most horrendous headache I've had in months, and I thought, well, there's no way I'm going to school today. So I stayed in bed all morning, but I thought it's fine because tomorrow I'll just get back on track. You know, I granted myself the permission. It was fine. I didn't have to ask anyone else. But you're right. It's just good to know that there's a timetable or something to fall back on once you feel better, and like you've made the decision. It's not just like mindless loafing around the house.
So the thing is what I also realised, Sophie, like yourself, is that it's important to schedule the whole week, actually. And I've been telling people that it's actually also important to schedule the Saturday and Sunday as well, because and to schedule from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. That's what's worked for me. I'm not saying it would work for everybody, but it then gives me a kind of momentum that I can really, really just fit into and feel really calm and feel like it's fun. And like you, I had a couple of sick afternoons. And I didn't call them sick, but what I found is that my body had lost some kind of energy. And so I realized that me being up wasn't helping me. So for a couple of afternoons, I actually worked from bed. And that was what worked for me. And yes, you're right. I could choose how I did that because it was me making the timetable.
It's very empowering. It's great. And you don't feel guilty because you've made that decision, even if you're in bed.
Exactly. Hey, Gabby, lovely to see you. So, one of the things that I loved in your blog, because everybody, Sophie wrote a blog. The blog is amazing. So we will give you somewhere that you can find it afterwards, or Sophie will tell you where you can find it at the end. And you said 2 of the reasons why you made this timetable was to shift the balance of my work in order to be more home-based and on tour less. Yeah. And the second reason, which I thought was amazing, was to be more me. Yeah. And now there's that quote, isn't there? Don't try to be anybody else because everybody else is taken.
Yep, I love that quote. It's a good one. Yeah,
I can't even remember who it's by, but but I always remember that. So, what did you mean when you said "be more me"?
So the 2 points you're talking about there, I think, were my 2 New Year's resolutions. So yeah, the first one was to do more freelance work that allowed me to be at home more, which is obviously going very well right now. And you're right. The second one was to sort of be mindful of the fact that everything I wanted to do wanted to be in line with this idea of be more me. And by that, I mean, well, so a few years ago now, I started writing lists in my phone. I'm one of these people that just writes a lot of stuff into the notes bit of my phone to sort of offload my brain. I started making lists of the things that I knew just made me feel better, sort of made me tick, sort of gave me that energy, because I didn't want to forget about them, actually. So if I was having a down day or sort of feeling burnout, which is quite easy to do in the freelance world, I think, then I could just look at this list and think, oh yeah, this is what I am about. Let's try and get my life back in line with those things. So this timetable kind of grew out of that, because I thought, I've got the time now to kind of put one of these lists of things into action. I've got the time in which to do it, so I can produce this list again, but then just put times against them.
Yes.
I love writing. I want to carry on learning Swedish. Obviously want to do some cello practice, so I remember how to do that when I go back to working. All of these things, that I always want to be working on, but now I actually have the time in the day to do it.
Yeah. So I always say that we don't manage time, we manage activities. And that's exactly what you're saying. I had these lists of things to do and all that I wanted to cultivate. And actually, I wanted to make time for them. So can we go through your 10 reasons?
We can. I mean, I've probably slightly touched on lots of them already, but let's do it.
Yes. So do you want to read them or shall I read them? What would you like to do?
Sure, go ahead and read them, and then I can elaborate.
So you said, during this time of uncertainty, there is some comfort in reverting to the structure and repetitions of days gone by.
Yes, exactly. So this is the sort of regression to childhood. As a freelancer, I mean, we don't have much routine in our lives generally, or if we do, it changes from week to week. So I think there is, I mean, I've always kind of fought against routine, but I've realized that actually there is something quite comforting about it, and it is nice to kind of go back to that time when you knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, I might end up fighting against it again, but at least for now, it's working for me. Watch this space.
So number 2 was, much of my school timetable I despised. Now that I can play head teacher, I get to pick the subjects which I love and do them daily. For want of a better phrase, I'm taking back control. Wonder Woman!
Hang on, I can see you now, but somehow the audio has gone.
Oh, have we got a glitch?
Hang on, you have vanished.
I can still hear you.
I might have to come back into this.
Okay. Let's go down. Hello. Let's get you back. There we go.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but that is technology for you. Yeah, all good.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Is that okay? Okay. And loads of people will have seen my decluttering, which is great. I love it. I love it. So exactly. It's all good. So you said, much of my school timetable I despised. Now that I can play head teacher, I get to pick the subjects which I love and do them daily. For want of a better phrase, I'm taking back control.
Yeah, the taking back control thing, maybe I shouldn't have said that. That's a little bit too political, isn't it? Yeah, there were lots of subjects I really didn't like. I mean, the maths and the science, I obviously understand the value of them, but they just didn't make me excited.
Yeah.
And there was things that I absolutely did love, like music, geography I loved in particular,
Yeah.
like the philosophy side of stuff. And so I thought, hang on. And I remember those school days as well, where I had just happened to have more of the subjects that I loved in the day, and I was just a happier person. So I thought, let's go back to that.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
And I love that it's taking back control, taking back that power. Do you know what I mean? Like coming back to self, being solid in that foundation. So
Absolutely.
the next one, you said, writing out a timetable with clearly defined subjects is the lockdown equivalent to making a list of my favourite things, or singing my own version of the Judy Garland classic, things that I want to do, but now with specific times carved out in which to do them.
Exactly. So that's just what I was saying about making this list, well, going back to this list that I had, but actually putting it into a structure in the day now that I actually have the time, because actually I don't think we've ever had time like this ever before, where we can kind of do these things guilt-free, not thinking where am I going to make my money next. I should be trying to kind of develop the next strand of my work or whatever. Like we can't do that at the moment. So yeah, ideal.
So I was struck by a point I read in the 30-day speed writing challenge by my friend Ed Bell. Find a creative ritual or process you can rely on. If it may feel counterintuitive to schedule time in which you will be creative, and I'm usually the first person to rail against routine and rebel against my own plans. Ed convinces me that really create something, even if you don't like it, is the way through. And about when I've been talking about the schedule, I've been talking about morning rituals. And why do I think that morning rituals are important? Because I feel that the way that we set up our day is really, 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 really important. So what do I mean by setting up our day? I mean that how we wake up in the morning, the rituals we choose in the morning, the meditation, saying our morning prayers, if that's what works for you, doing our yoga, doing our exercise in the morning. Those for me are kind of helping to put you towards your creative rituals. And I think creating a morning ritual and an evening ritual in your schedule is also very important.
I'm so sorry.
So hi, Sophie, we lost you. So that we were talking about, that's all right. So we're talking about number 4, your creative ritual or your process. Would you like to feedback on that?
Lots of us creative people think, oh, you can't possibly have a schedule because that's the least creative thing you can do. Surely you should just be walking along in the sunset and something amazing will hit you, which absolutely can happen. And obviously when you're kind of most relaxed and your mind is off duty, that's when creative things do happen. But at the same time, I think if you're not working through anything, then you're not going to create anything, even if it's rubbish. I think if you've got time in your day every day to think about the thing that you want to create, and go through ideas, at least you can kind of get rid of the bad ones. But I think it's important to schedule it, because you might get to the end of the week and think, oh, I really wish I had worked on writing that song or whatever, and you hadn't even considered it. So yeah, work through the writer's block, work through the pain occasionally, because you'll come out better at the end of it, I think.
Yes. Okay, so the next one was number 5, and you said, because I I own my own time. I'm my own timetable creator. It's okay if I go off piste. Nothing about this lockdown situation is normal. I definitely need times in my day in which I stare out of the window and grapple with the enormity and future impact of crisis face. Indeed, I've needed these past 2 weeks in which to do a lot of nothing and slowly come around to making a picture, slowly come around to making a plan. But unlike real school, I can grant myself these breaks when I need them. However, if the sense of overwhelm becomes too overwhelming, it may be reassuring town age. So, hi, Sophie.
Okay, this might be better now.
Hi, Sophie. We're talking about coming off piste. Sophie. Yeah, this might be better now. Thank you. So yeah, so we're talking about coming off piste.
Yes.
Yeah, you're number 5.
Yeah, this is important, I think. You may have just read the whole point and have missed it, but yeah, nothing about this time is very normal, and we all need, I think, a lot of time to process what's going on. So if you've made a schedule and then you decide that actually the news is particularly overwhelming today, or you're just not coping, it's totally fine to take some time. As you said, you can timetable that time in as well. But it's quite reassuring to know that you've got a structure to go back to once you have taken this time off. And as I said, I needed those 2 weeks at the beginning to do a lot of that processing before I could even comprehend making a schedule.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. So number 6 was I haven't had proper weekends, consecutive free evenings, or that Friday feeling since I was a student. Even during university and music college, there was always that underlying feeling of guilt dictating that work could and should be done during downtime. It will be interesting being a muggle, just well, freelance for 9 to 5, no offense intended. Tell us about that.
I don't know if you can still hear me properly. It's sounding a little bit like we're robots, but I'll try. Yeah, I've always wondered what it would be like to be one of these people with a 9 to 5 job who has free evenings, weekends, and yeah, as my point said, I haven't really had that since I was at school, probably. So I thought it would just be an interesting experiment, a social experiment. It might be empowering. I might end up hating the fact that it's the same every day, but yeah, it's almost like having a glimpse into someone else's world, in a way. Not like today's, not like this moment is particularly normal at all, but yeah, a fun experiment.
It was maths, i.e. tax return is on the timetable. I've certainly not always lost her again. Oh, bless. I'm sorry, everyone. As you can see, my classroom behind number 7. I'll read that out and see if she jumps back in. So maths, i.e. tax return, is on the timetable. I have certainly not developed a for this. Less years worth of expenses into Excel may pass less painfully than should. So, Soph, do you want to input on that?
I've tried a different part of my flat to see if this will work. I haven't had any internet problems this whole time, and now I'm live and it's not working so well. Can you hear me?
No, that's okay.
Yes, the maths thing.
Yeah, so yes. I can hear you now. We're on the 7th. You're not the 7th.
Yes. So the maths thing, I think I mentioned earlier that was definitely one of my least favourite subjects at school. But obviously, as grown-ups, we have to do certain things, don't we? And as freelancers, we have to do our tax return. And this is usually something I do, last week of January, like a lot of us. But I thought that if I scheduled in a small amount every week, then it might be pain-free. And actually, I found myself on Monday doing my maths class and weirdly enjoying it, because I knew I was getting something productive done that I had to do, but that afterwards I could sort of reward myself with something I did enjoy doing. Take forward.
Okay, I'm gonna lose her again. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think we've. Hey, Sophie.
Hello.
Hey.
You just keep.
I'm just trying to work out how we can keep it going. We're not going to give, because we are.
Say that again.
I'm just checking that everybody can still hear us.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that they can. So let's just carry on to the end.
Great.
And just keep going, because we can.
Okay, you keep talking and I'll just jump in with whatever I can as and when.
Yeah. Okay, so school subjects names are broad enough for amp wiggle room. Naming a lesson music is hardly suffocating perspective. This morning I was practicing Celtic folk cello accompaniment techniques, but next week I could, if I really wanted to, play some scales. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most important things for me with this schedule, is that on my timetable, it just has very broad things, like at school with school subjects, music, maths, food tech, which is me in the kitchen. I've even got forest school on there, which is a sort of throwback to nursery. Very broad things, which means that I'm not kind of making myself feel suffocated by sort of saying, right, today you have to learn this one piece, or today you have to make this type of cake. It's just sort of allowing me to be creative, but within that that sort of self-imposed restriction. So yeah, every day after I've done PE with Joe online, I go to music, which obviously as a freelance musician, that could mean so many different things, but it's great because it just means that I can still be creative day to day and choose what that means for me on a particular day.
Yeah. So the next thing you were talking about is it's fun. I've really enjoyed the process of putting together my own group up school. Putting together my own grown-up school timetable. It's light-hearted but useful, and I think we all need that right now. And I do think we all need some fun right now. Yeah. So tell us about that.
I mean, yeah, it does what it says on the tin, really. I mean, yeah, I think creating a schedule or a timetable can feel just quite boring sometimes for so many people, or it feels like we've sort of given in and we're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go back to being like everyone else. But actually I've really enjoyed it. The 3 days that I spent putting it together, I felt re-energized. Yeah. And like I said before, sort of taking control of this time that we've got.
Yeah. And I think it's really important that, I mean, a lot of people do feel that a schedule is something that is quite constricting, but actually what I've learned as a coach is that a schedule gives you the most freedom. It's something then that gives you a freedom of choice, but a freedom to change your mind. It gives you flexibility. And it gives you choice to switch things around, and also it makes you able to manage your time better as well. Even though we manage activities, we don't manage time, but it's also good to know what parts of our day we're doing what. Mm-hmm. So that's great for the mind, and it creates clarity. And I think that's one of the biggest things that a schedule or a timetable does, is create clarity.
Exactly. And I think sometimes if I don't have a schedule, I'm always worrying. There's something at the back of my mind saying, oh, but what if you forget to do this other thing? So if you know you've written it down, you know that you can focus on the task at hand without worrying that you're going to run out of time to do all the other things you have to do as well.
Yeah. Yes. So your last one, I'll let you do that. That was your disclaimer.
Sure. Yeah. The last one is sort of not really a point. It's more of a disclaimer. But I was basically just saying how I know that I'm very lucky to have this time just completely open to me, because so many people don't. Those who are key workers, those who have kids at home, those who may sort of on paper have lots of open time at home, but actually are struggling mentally at the moment, or physically. So it sort of feels like a responsibility, because I am feeling on the whole okay, and I don't have other things to do. Like I want to use this time. I don't want to get to the end of this period and think, all these things I could have done while everyone else was doing something amazing.
Yeah, but I think it's also really, really important to let everybody know that it's okay if this is your time that you need to just schedule your rest time. I mean, for a lot of people, you were talking earlier about burnout, and it can be so destructive for somebody who is suffering from burnout, or who is suffering from depression or low frequency. To then start trying to do loads and loads and loads of things is actually not great, because they're just perpetuating the issue or the challenge that they have at that time. So I think for people like us who are so used to being not in one place at the same time and touring all the time, and it's really great for us to come back into one place and to be really systematic about things. But for others maybe who have been still a lot,
yes,
have been always doing that, actually them coming off the wheel, or off the hamster wheel, as sometimes, or the mouse wheel, or whatever we want to call it, is actually more beneficial to them. And I think there's two sides of this coin, isn't there, around people scheduling things to do, and people scheduling time to be.
Yes,
because I think they're two different things, and I think it's really important to let people know that both are okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Sophie, thank you so much for for staying on. We did it in the end.
Oh, we made it. We made it to number 10.
We made it in the end. For everybody who's still watching, thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
So that was anyway, we'll work it out, and hopefully for our next guest tomorrow, we were fine yesterday, so we'll just need to find out what that was.
Yeah.
And it was quite bizarre, but we stayed here, and for what you've learned, for what you've heard, I'm hoping that you would have managed to get something from it. But Sophie, where can everybody find you?
So the post that we've been reading from is actually on a very new blog. I've always had blogs in the past, but I sort of thought now is the time to launch a new one and stick with it. It's called redkitechronicles.com.
Okay.
Red Kite Chronicles. There is a reason behind that name, but I won't go into that now. So yeah, only 2 posts on there at the moment, including the one we've been reading from. But I've been, as I said, I'm always writing notes into my phone. I've actually written over 5,000 words into my phone in the last 3 weeks, which is all fodder for the blog. So it's all gonna start growing in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously, doing it in my English lessons.
Lovely, I love it. I love it. Oh, bless you. Well, thank you. Can anybody find you anywhere else that you
yes, I mean, I am on Instagram. Well, it's sgleds, so SGLEDS is my username, and that's probably the best way to find me.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Take care. Tomorrow we're going to have Darren Abrahams on, who's a trauma therapist and an amazing individual. Please do not miss that, because he's going to be talking about ways to calm the nervous system, and we'll work all of this other stuff out before we see him tomorrow. All right, my lovely. Take care. Big
Thanks,
hug.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.